Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of the weekly playlist. It's Friday, so you guys know what that means. Time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during this week. I'll let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on the games I share with you. I would also like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the games I share with you, whether you played them before, what you liked about them, maybe something you didn't like about them. I'd also like to hear about what games you guys are playing because I get some great ideas from you guys when you guys describe the different games that you're playing. So I do appreciate that. And if you guys have any recommendations on a game you think I should check out, let me know because you guys also have recommended some great titles. I've got a huge backlog, a big list of games to eventually play, and it seems like each week I keep getting recommendations on games to play or hearing about games you guys are playing that I want to check out. And if I don't have them, I research them and see if they're ones I want to add to my collection. If I do have them, I can add them to my list of games to play because I would like to get through this huge backlog, which is going to take me years to get through. But I do plan to eventually get to it. So keep those recommendations coming, guys. I really appreciate it. This week, we're continuing my Xbox One kick. I just cannot get enough of my Xbox One right now. That's pretty much the only console I've exclusively been playing. I mean, I do play on my Switch here and there and my Game Boy player on my GameCube, but mostly I've just been playing a lot of Xbox One games as that's kind of the console that I kind of neglected over the last few years. I mean, I picked up a bunch of games for it here and there, um, but it wasn't one I was really playing because I'd been playing a whole lot of retro the last couple of years, and then in the last few months, I decided I want to play some more modern games and start really using my Xbox One X that I got from my brother. And I really love the console. It's awesome. It's much better than my original Xbox One that I got on launch day, and also better than the Xbox One S that I got just because it's an X, so it does run better. Now, I don't have a 4K TV, so I can't take advantage of any of the 4K stuff, but it's still, the graphics still look great, anyways, for my use. And I just like that the console's actually faster, so really good stuff. So I've got 3 games to share with you guys this week. First one here is one that I got actually because of my buddy Dean was talking about it, saying that he was planning to play this soon. And I remember I'd like the original one, Xbox 360, so I decided to go out and pick up the Xbox One copy, and that is Homefront: The Revolution. Now, I loved the original Homefront game. I know a lot of people kind of hate it and stuff, but I really enjoyed the story, enjoyed playing the game, so I figured, I definitely have to check out this one because he was talking about it, and I am glad that I did. Now I bought this. I think it was like $8 or something. If you guys, have you watched my birthday pickups video that I released this week? You guys will see it in there. But so I bought this at the game store, and it came with the pre-order bonus pack, which includes the Revolutionary Spirit pack. Which for the campaign it gives you a gold handgun. I mean, just a skin for the handgun, and then the bikes have a little cool skull on the tank and stuff, and just give it like a red color and stuff to it. So it's just cosmetic stuff. And then if you play the Resistance mode, which is a co-op mode online, you get early unlocks for a rifle, a scope, and then I think like a what's it say in there? Remote explosives. So you get a little bit early access stuff for that. So I just thought it was a kind of a neat little bonus. Well, when I was going to install this game, actually, in the Microsoft Store, because I always check, whenever I buy a game, I always check and there's what kind of DLC is there, and they showed that they had DLC story packs for this, so a season pass for like $15, but they were having a big sale, which I think it's over with by now when I bought this, but it was like 85% off the digital complete edition, so I got the full game plus all the expansions for $5.99. So I'm like, why would I spend $15 on the digital, just the season pass when I can get the full game plus all that stuff for just $6 with that sale, because it's normally a lot more than that. So I took advantage of that, bought that, and I have all the content for this game. So definitely looking forward to playing through the expansions for this. So I'll give you guys the basic story about this game, which is a kind of little far-fetched and kind of like way out there, but and also just want to warn you though, this is like a remake slash like a retelling and sequel to that Xbox 360 Homefront, because the stories are different about how Korea comes to power, that kind of thing. So basically in this one, there's this company called Apex that's from North Korea that makes all kinds of high-tech stuff like phones and tablets, and everybody in the world, and especially America, is buying them up. And then, America's been involved in all these Middle East wars, and it's taking a toll on our country. And so we started buying all of our military tech from them, which is like ships and helicopters and guns and stuff, and it's all high tech. And I just think it's North Korea. Like, yeah, like they would have any like high powered and high powerful technologies. Now with South Korea I can understand, but North Korea, I mean, that's kind of a ludicrous story, but it's still enjoyable. But basically, we keep buying from them, borrowing and borrowing, money, and we're into debt to them, and our government's collapsing. And then so North Korea decides to take advantage of that, and they put like a special backdoor thing into all our technology where they hit a switch, and it pretty much defeats our military. We lose our helicopters, the tanks stop working, the ships stop working, the guns stop working because they had that as a trick so they could take over our country. And so then North Korea comes over with saying that they're here for aid with their troops and stuff, and that they're going to help us rebuild. And it was really about taking over America. And basically, they take over America, and then you're part of what's called the revolution, and you're fighters and stuff who want to take our country back because our freedoms have been stolen and all that. And basically, America's been reduced to a third world kind of country, and cities have been destroyed, and there's all kinds of guerrilla warfare going on. And the game takes place in 2029, and in 2025 is when all this shit goes down. So a few years from now is what this game takes place in, like an alternate future of America goes to shit, and now we got to fight these North Koreans. And I really am enjoying the game. I have checked out videos of this play before while I was installing to get an idea of what the game was like and reviews and stuff. And a lot of people had mentioned that when this game first launched, it was filled with bugs and issues. But since then, they have patched the game, because I did have to download a big patch for it. And I guess it really fixed the game and made it really enjoyable, because a lot of people really hated this game when they first played it. There was a lot of stuttering and crashing and glitching and people falling through walls and that kind of stuff. And I guess all that has been addressed in the patch and has completely made the game playable. So of course for me, I'm already playing it post patch, and for me I've had no issues at all, and I'm really enjoying this game. Has the campaign, the main storyline you can play, but then also has that co-op multiplayer mode, which I'm not huge into multiplayer anymore, but I would be interested in maybe checking out the co-op sometime. Maybe get a couple buddies if they happen to have this game, maybe check it out and play it, because that seems like it might be kind of interesting. Let's see. I'll tell you guys what to say. So you're in Philadelphia. So also you're in the city of Philadelphia. And it's 2029. America's on its knees. Wage guerrilla warfare in open world. Become a freedom fighter and use ambush, infiltration, hit and run tactics against your foes in a thrilling, unscripted firefight. So that's something I really like. Is you have a main overall story, but you also have like side stuff you can do. And like you'll go to one area, and if you don't go to like one dude wants you to talk to him, you can run around that little map area and do your own stuff, because there's different areas, and they have like a green zone, yellow zone, and then a red zone. Now red zones are where like the North Korean army is active, and they're running around and different stuff, and they have actually different little territories set up, and you can actually capture these and take them over for the resistance, and it'll turn from red to blue. And then when that happens, there's less North Korean presence in the game. And so when you first get that initial area, that's the red zone, just opens up, and you can do different things there. Like they'll have like a communication center as an example, where you can kill the North Koreans that are there, and then you can hack into it and take over their network, and then you can use that to find hidden stashes on the map and enemy locations and things like that. And then they also have, like, they took over a diner as an example, and there's like a food stash there. If you take that over, then it helps the revolution and the resistance by getting them food and supplies and stuff like that. And you can actually take over that entire map. So that's really cool. I'm still very early into the game, because these are those kind of games that I don't like rush to. I mean, some people kind of just breeze through the story and go real quick, but I like to really explore and look for resources and stuff, because that's another thing in this game is you have money, but then you also have resources you can find, you can sell for money. But then you also have these I can't remember what the hell the exact name of them is, but you find this stuff like from Korean technology stuff, and you can use that to buy weapons or buy upgrades and stuff for your character, because you just start out with a handgun and a submachine gun, and from there you can start buying assault rifles, but then you can convert it to a big machine gun. You can buy RPGs, you can get sniper rifles and stuff, shotguns. You have a variety of weapons to fight the North Koreans with. However, it's not all available at the start of the game. You have to earn that by doing side stuff, helping the resistance, and earn money so you can then buy that from merchants, because there are merchants in the game where you can buy supplies from. Whenever you take over an area, it turns into like a mini outpost place, and there's where you can go and get refilled on ammo, and you can get refilled on supplies and stuff. Another thing I really like is you can craft stuff in this game too. So like if you find the supplies, you can craft Molotov cocktails, or you can craft explosives. And something that's really cool that I saw you can get is they have explosive on little RC cars, and you can actually, hide in a building and drive that like right into a North Korean patrol or something, which is really sweet. There's also little missions and stuff you can find in these outposts. They'll have like a thing paid where like take pictures of 20 North Koreans for our research department. You take the pictures, or take pictures of this, or kill so many North Koreans by burning them to death, or shooting them with a machine gun. So there's little side missions you can do besides doing the main story. Now I have heard overall that the story is kind of short. The game is kind of short of just going through the story. But I'm assuming if you do all the side stuff and everything, that it would definitely lengthen the game. But I'm okay with games that are just like a 6, 7, 8, maybe a 10-hour game. Because I've played so many games that are hundreds of hours that I don't mind investing time and playing through a game that might be 10 or 12-hour story. Because generally ones that people say like a 10 or 12-hour story, I usually can get like 18 to 20 out of them, because I like to play games. I play them a little bit different than other people do. Some people just rush real through it. I like to take my time and explore, especially if there's like lore or collectibles and stuff to find, which there are journals you can find that different people talking about their times dealing with living in America and being occupied and that kind of thing. So I'm interested to see how this story ends, because like I said, I really like the one on Xbox 360, but it's a completely different story from that. So this is kind of like a retelling and kind of like a sequel to it. So they're not really connected at all, other than the name. And this is the second one in the series, but just an overall setting of basically America being taken over by Korea, and we're fighting back to take America back. So this is one I definitely would recommend you guys check out. You can get it fairly cheap, physical copy. Now, like I said, that digital complete edition I think is normally like $40 or some dollars, but like I said, I happened to get it on sale for that $6 because of the sale. But always keep an eye out on the Microsoft Store, the PlayStation Store, because they always have sales going on all the time. I've built up a lot of great content for my games thanks to those huge sales they have. So always keep an eye out for that. Great ways to expand your games, but definitely check it out. This is a first-person shooter. One thing I really like about the weapons is they are customizable. So like you have a handgun, but then you could turn it into a submachine gun, and you can customize it. Like maybe you want to put a different scope on it, or you want to make the barrel longer, have a better handle, have a better grip in the back. You can actually customize the weapons to your play style and to make them better. You also can upgrade your own character with body armor, stuff like that. You can get different weapons that you can craft. You have different craftable items and stuff that can help you. You have health kits, so this does not have regenerating health. So this actually has little health kits that you have to use, which is a nice change for first-person shooter games. It is fairly difficult in the beginning, so I definitely recommend grinding a bit by doing the side stuff before you get to the main missions done enough to where you get out to that red zone, and then start doing all the side stuff so you can build up all this money so you can use that to buy better equipment. It'll make the game a lot easier, trust me. And also, make sure you loot all the dead enemies in the game and your dead allies, because they always carry ammo and money, and sometimes you can get supplies and stuff from them. So whenever I kill the people, I always loot their bodies, obviously after the firefight. Or if your own resistance fighters die, loot them too, because you can get valuable money from them, and that can really add up. You kill 100 dudes and you get like 10 or 20 bucks from each one. That money adds up quickly, and it's great because some of these guns are expensive, but you could also buy upgrades and stuff for the guns too and make them stronger, because it definitely comes in handy as you start playing further in the game. You start getting new enemy types and they get stronger, and it definitely pays to kill enemies and loot their bodies. So make sure you guys do that as well. So Let me know your guys' thoughts. You guys have played Homefront Revolution, what you thought of it. Maybe you didn't like it. I'm absolutely loving the game, and I'm looking forward to beating this one. So definitely give that one a try. And the next two here we're going to talk about are in a combination pack, and that is the Bioshock The Collection. I had talked about playing the first one last week. I actually beat that first one this week. Was a wonderful first-person shooter. I started playing Prey, which I actually put that down this week. I haven't played it since last week because that game reminded me so much of Bioshock that I decided I wanted to go through the series, and it just really hooked me. And I went through, it was probably like 18 hours, and I beat the Bioshock one. I got all the collectible diaries and stuff, and really looted everything, explored all over the place that I could in the world of Rapture. It's really awesome. So the very first game, Bioshock, takes place in this underwater city called Rapture, and it's this guy Ryan that created this underwater city for everybody to live in. And the people that were down there with him came up with this thing called plasmids, which actually changes your DNA and gives you powers. Like, you inject yourself with one, and you can actually start have flame powers. You can throw fire and stuff. You can melt ice. You can get electric power, and you can shock enemies. And so it's really cool. You can use the environment. Like, there's enemies standing in water, you can throw lightning into the water and it'll fry them. They get shocked. So stuff like that. You have ones you can create insects to attack people, hacking stuff. There's another one that will make enemies detected by turrets and cameras and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. There's also these really big enemies, which you can sort of see one here and see him there. They're like these big diving suit guys, and they're called Big Daddies. And their job are to protect these little girls that are called Little Sisters, who have been genetically enhanced to collect what is called Adam. And it's like a precious resource down here that is used to upgrade your character. And all the enemies in the game and the people that are living in Rapture want this Adam because it's, what they live on, and it makes them go crazy. They end up there's what called splicers, because they just like splice themselves with this technology. Some of these people have like hook arms and stuff, and they're all bloody and deformed and crazy looking. They all attack you on sight, and they all are nuts and laugh and stuff and jump around. It's just, they're really interesting enemies. And at the time when the Bioshock game first came out, the genre of first-person shooter was so saturated in the market. Everybody was kind of the same military shooter, this and that, and Bioshock really made itself stand out by doing something different that other shooters weren't doing at the time, and that was adding basically magic elements into the game, which is with the plasmids, using the, like your fire and things like that technology, electricity, that kind of thing, and made it set itself apart from other first-person shooters and made it really fun. Also has RPG elements and stuff based into this game, because you can upgrade your character by using the Atom, and maybe you can make your health bar longer. You can use your Eve, which is basically like a mana bar, is how much you can use of these plasmid powers, which is awesome. Another one of the things you can use with the plasmid is you can hypnotize a Big Daddy, so you can actually make one of those big diving guys follow you around, where it makes them think that you're a little girl, and they help protect you from the enemies. Now, enemies do respawn in this game, so you have to be careful of that. There is the ability to hack in this game, which I really enjoyed. And in the first game, when you hack, it brings up a little mini game, and you have a water that starts, and you have a bunch of little squares, and you have a couple pipes set up, and the whole object is to create the pipes to the other one. And at the beginning it's really easy, but you have to do different pipes. So some turn right, some turn left, some are straight, some have a spiral, so it makes the water go really slow, and some make it go really fast. And so basically you have to make the pattern get to there under a time limit of that water coming, because if the water gets there before you get the pattern set, the thing shuts off and you get shocked or damaged. And now sometimes there are alarm buttons, if it hits that alarm panel, the alarm goes off and all the turrets show up and try to attack you. And if you hit one of the ones that have explosive, you get a powerful shock, and it almost kills you. It can drain your health. If you're already injured, it could literally kill you. So you got to watch out for that. But it's really fun hacking into stuff, because if you hack into a turret, you can make it become friendly, and then it'll shoot things for it. And they have machine gun turrets, but they also have these rocket launcher turrets that come in handy. There's also these little flying turret robot guys that fly around. They have little helicopter blades. If you hack those and take them over, they'll actually fly around and help protect you, which is cool. And then there's also cameras. And if the camera alerts you, it makes an alarm. It goes beep, beep. And if you get out of the way, it'll reset itself in turn. But if you stay too long and it alerts you, it detects you, the alerts will go off and it'll send those little flying turret guys after you to attack you. So those come in handy, because if you hack the camera and an enemy happens to get spotted, they'll set off the alarm and the turret things will go after them. So that's really cool. It has a really good story that really keeps you drawn, and like it really sucked me in, that I just kept playing this and beating, because I had not played this game since it launched in like 2007 2008 time, and I beat it years ago and hadn't played it again. So I really enjoyed my time with it, and it's a game I think you should play. It has a great story. There's more than one ending, and the ending is actually affected by how you treat these little girls in the game. And there's like, I think 21 of them total or something. You can actually get 22 if your game glitches like mine did and made an extra one appear, which is great. Now, if you save the little girls, you get 80 at them. But if you harvest them, you get 160 at them, but then they die. And that does affect the ending, whether you get a good ending or a bad ending. So that's pretty cool. I like when games have multiple endings, because it makes you want to play through it more than once. Now, for this BioShock collection, they actually added what's called a New Game Plus mode to it, which I don't remember if it was actually in the original versions or not, but it's in this one. And you can play the game again, you can change the difficulty, but have all your stuff unlocked. So it can make the game a lot easier if you beat the game, get all the stuff unlocked, and then you can go back and play the game on a harder difficulty with your previous unlocks. Like I did that in like Dead Space. I really enjoyed that, when you could replay the game. Sometimes you can't get all, just don't have enough resources to unlock everything in one playthrough. So if you replay the game again, you can get anything you mopped up and you forgot, which is great. I bought the strategy guides for all three of the BioShock games, which if you guys checked out my birthday pickups video, you guys would have saw I picked them up in there. I used that one. I was able to find all 163, 64, whatever it was, diaries in the game. It had wonderful detailed maps and stuff of the layouts, where all the supplies and stuff were, and it's just fun. I just really like the world of Rapture. So I beat that first BioShock game, and so after beating that, I decided to play BioShock 2, because I have that installed. So you have BioShock 2 on there, and in that one, you play as one of those big daddies that I was talking about, except you're what's called part of the Alpha series. You're actually one of the original prototype guys that was created as the early Big Daddies, and that's what you play as. And it's basically a sequel to the original BioShock. The very beginning takes place during the original game, and then it takes place after the game. It's like 10 years or something after. The basic story opens up where you're a Big Daddy. This little girl that you're attached to gets kidnapped, and then eventually you go down and out, and then you get revived 10 years later, and then the story continues from there. Now, you guys know I don't like to ruin story for you, because I think a great part of playing these games is actually enjoying the story, but that's just a basic premise of the game. Is you're a Big Daddy, and you go from there and explore stuff, and you get to return to the city of Rapture underwater, which is cool, but you get to go to other places. And another really neat thing I really like, a number 2, which really blew me away when I first played it years ago, and it's been a long time since I played the 360 version, is since you're a Big Daddy, you're in a diving suit, you can actually be underwater and you won't drown, because you're in that diving suit, which is cool, because there are times where you actually go outside of the city. In the first game, you never ever went outside in the water. You were always in the city. You had to run away from water, that kind of thing. This one, if there's water, you can actually go into it, which is really cool. It's really awesome. They added a new enemy in this game, and I'm not sure if there's more than one, because it's been so long since I played the regular one, and I've only in the very beginning of BioShock 2 right now. There's these enemies called the Big Sisters that are like female versions of the Big Daddies, only they can jump around, and they're much more athletic and much more dangerous and tougher to fight. Now, there are other Big Daddies in the game, of course, just like the first one, where you have to fight those Big Daddies. They don't like you, so you have to fight them and kill them and take their little girl, and you can either harvest them, or you can save them again, just like that. And of course, that also affects the ending. Now, this pack does come with the DLC, so there was some DLC, the Museum of Orphan Concepts and Challenge Rooms for Bioshock 1, which I still need to check out. And then this one also has Minerva's Den and Protector Trial, some more DLC and stuff that I actually never played for the original 360 versions of Bioshock 1 and 2. And so once I beat Bioshock 2, then I'm going to want to go through and beat Bioshock Infinite, because I have not beat this trilogy in just so long, but there's just so much great content in these games. They're just so amazing and awesome. Like, playing with that Prey game just really made me want to play these games. So I'm going to eventually, get back to Prey again. But I've just been having a blast with this Bioshock collection. I'm so glad that I picked this up. I got this really cheap at, GameStop. Now, there's one thing I did want to mention, that this happened to me, and man, it kind of ticked me off. So be aware of this, and this is a glitch that happens in this. It's more prevalent in the PS4 version than Xbox One. When I was playing Bioshock 1, I like to create a lot of save files, because something happens, it gets corrupted, you lose it. However, I found out that if you create too many of them at a time, you actually can corrupt all the save files. And I was very far into the game, and I had stuff corrupted, and all of a sudden it glitched, and all of a sudden my save files were all fucked up, and I'm like, oh my god, I just lost like 13 hours of work. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm not gonna fucking play the game now if that's what it is. Thank God I was able to go into my cloud save and re-download the cloud save, and I was able to go back and continue. Now, all I lost was about an hour and a half progress, so I had to basically go back a chapter in the story, but luckily, I knew what I was doing, so I was actually able to breeze through in like a half hour and got back to where I was. And so I was very careful where I was saving after key points in the game, because I didn't want that to happen. So I just want to let you guys know that I have run into that issue. I had heard other people had run into that issue. And so definitely, if you're online, it updates to that cloud storage. You may have to do what I did, is delete the save file only from your console and then re-download it, which is just something that irritates me about modern games. Like, this is just a game ported, but it came with bugs and issues that they had been patching, but they still have that saving issue. And then I also was reading other people were saying sometimes, with the way the file works, like, they only give you so much megabyte space that the 3 games all share in like a save space area. If you have too many of number 1, it'll say, I'm sorry, insufficient space for saving. You actually have to load up the other game and delete some of the saves. So I would recommend keeping like maybe 6 total, and then just keep saving there. Now, the game does have auto saves and stuff in the game, but I just wanted to mention that to you guys, that I had run into that. It had ticked me off. I had to research about it, and some people lost their whole game, all their progress, everything, and they had to start all over. And that would just, fucking piss me off, that kind of shit. So I just wanted to warn you guys that this Bioshock collection on PS4, Xbox One does have issues. I have heard that the PS4 version is much more buggy compared to the Xbox version of the games. Other than that saving issue that I had in the game, I really, really enjoyed them. And so far, I've had no issues in Bioshock 2. Such wonderful games. If you don't have it for Xbox One, get them for Xbox 360. They're so cheap. My local game stores have Bioshock 1 for $3, 3 to 5. Bioshock 2 is like $6, and Bioshock Infinite's like $6, $7, $5, somewhere around there. So for under $20, you could get all 3 games on the Xbox 360 and thoroughly enjoy them. Now, these did not have a huge graphical leap. Some stuff looks better. Some stuff actually looks kind of worse from this perspective. Like, they had really good graphics on the 360. So it wasn't like a major improvement, because they say, they're remastered versions of the game, because they put them at, 1080p, 60 frames a second, that kind of thing. But there's not a huge graphical leap. Now, when I'm thinking like big graphical leap, I'm thinking like Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 1 to Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 4. That's like a huge upgrade and a real, what I would call a remaster. So these are kind of like upgraded ports, is what I would call them, but still very enjoyable. Whether you get the Xbox One collection or the PS4 collection, or you get them on the original 360 version or PS3 version, take the time and play through all 3 games in the Bioshock trilogy. They are amazing games, wonderful stories, and I'm having a blast with it. Can't wait to beat number 2 and then start playing Bioshock Infinite, because Bioshock Infinite actually takes place in a world that's actually built up in the sky, so a flying city, which is a whole different change from being underwater. I love the underwater setting. It's really cool. The water effects are done well. Now, I will say that the fire and water and stuff in this game do look very realistic, so they did upgrade on that kind of stuff. And the engine overall, it works great. The characters, the voice acting, the controls, the look of everything is just amazing, and this game will suck you in. Highly recommend getting the strategy guides for it. Just be warned, they can be kind of pricey to find. I was lucky to find them locally. Online, they're about $10 to $15 a piece, and they can be kind of hard to find. They're kind of getting harder to find strategy guides for older games now. But definitely check out Bioshock the Collection. So we'll do our quick little recap like we do every week. I talked about Homefront: The Revolution. This is basically like a reimagining, retelling / sequel to the Homefront that was released on the PS3 and 360. It's same basic premise of fighting Korea, who takes over America, but the story of how they do it is different, so they're not really related. But that you're basically a resistance fighter helping take America back from North Koreans. It's open world. There's different things you can take over, outposts and stuff. There's weapons to upgrade. There's things you can craft, supplies, things like that. There's the main story. There's side stuff to do. Really cool. I don't know if there's multiple endings or not, but overall, it's a fun first-person shooter, and since it's been patched, it's made the game much more enjoyable. And then, of course, we talked about the Bioshock collection. I've been playing Bioshock 1 and 2. I beat the first one, and now I'm working on beating number 2, and I would like to get to number 3. This is a wonderful first-person shooter trilogy that really sets itself apart because you have these plasmid technology that you can upgrade to your character, and you give yourself the ability to throw lightning or fire. So like if there's something that's like frozen solid, you can use your fire ability to melt it and open up doors, that kind of thing. You can use the environment to your advantage. If enemies are in water, you can shoot your lightning ability into the water, and you can actually shock the enemy. So I thought that's really cool. So let me know your guys' thoughts if you played any of the 3 Bioshock games, or you played Homefront: The Revolution. I also want to hear what games you guys have been playing, and if you have any recommendations on a game you think I should check out, let me know, because you guys always recommend really good games. I want to thank you for watching. Take care, have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see ya next time.